So today's message comes from Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 19, and I'm discussing verses 1 through 4. And so it basically says how Eve was deceived by the serpent. And you see, the serpent said, "Did God really say you must not eat the fruit from any of the tree in the gardens?" "Of course, we may eat the fruit from the trees in the garden," the woman replied. "It's only the fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden that we are not allowed to eat. God said, you must not eat it or even touch it. If you do, you will die." "You won't die," the serpent replied to the woman. "God knows that your eyes will be open, and as soon as you eat it, and you will be like God, knowing both good and evil." The woman was convinced. And so I want to discuss who's in your ear. And so as you see, God has already spoken to Eve. He said, this is what you should not do, right? He gave clear instructions. And so how we can apply this to our life is that oftentimes we'll have these dreams, we have these visions of what God told us to do, and we share it with others, and they plant the seed of doubt. Are you sure this is what God told you to do? Are you sure this is what you're supposed to eat? Is you sure that you heard from God, right? And so if you're not careful, you could be conceived to do something completely different than what God told you to do. If you hold, like, say, a mentor opinion to value, sometimes if they give you advice and say, hey, I wouldn't purchase this, I wouldn't buy in the stock right now because of the market, whatever it could be. If God told you to do that and you prayed on it and you fast on it and you're just 100% on fire, for sure, know that this is something God wants you to do. If you look at your mentor and you're like, well, this person is in the field, this person knows this, sometimes you go just based off of what your mentor said. You don't bring it back to God and say, God, my mentor, said maybe I should do it another way. What do you think? And so we have to be careful with giving others our ear, especially if it's something that God already told us to do. We have to really trust and believe that God is going to do exactly what he said.